Hi guys, welcome back to the workshop. I'm Nick Reeves, and this is my channel all about my hobbies. Now this video is a bit of a, I'm going to say somber, but I don't know if somber is the right word, video. What I've got in front of me here is Ewan's Excalibur 110. I'll put a link up here to the previous videos regarding these aeroplanes. Quick potted history of this. As you can see, it's broken, very much broken just now. It's, I don't even know if you can see it's broken, but it is, it's very broken. This happened yesterday, filming this on a Sunday, happened yesterday on Saturday at the flying field. Potted history of these aeroplanes. We bought them at Western Park. I bought one myself, Ewan bought one with his own pocket money, and I'll come back to that in a bit. Got them home. They look like really great aeroplanes, seem to be good value for money. These were the plug and fly versions, so we added receiver, LiPo, and it was ready to go. Once we got them all set up, tested mine just outside, great. Tested Ewan's, and there was a horrible imbalance somewhere. Initially I thought that the prop was out of balance, so I checked that, even swapped them over between models. Now these are the fixed prop versions. There was an earlier version of this that had a folding prop, so making it clear this is the fixed prop version, the latter version. So there was an imbalance somewhere. Got it back on the bench and actually found that the motor was loose in its metal mount, and the metal mount is screwed to a plastic mount that's bonded into the front of the model. The motor is held into the metal mount by what appeared to be held in by two grub screws, and that was moving. The whole thing was moving, so I nipped them up. Once this was done, again tried running it up, and as it was running you could hear the noise of the engine getting worse, or the motor getting worse and worse and worse, so I stopped. And then we felt it felt really notchy and coggy, and I thought, oh, a magnet's come out of the motor. It's one of those things. Undid the motor, took it out, and you could feel that there was something not quite right. All the magnets felt and looked secure, so it was a bearing of some sort. Again, long story short, I contacted the place where I bought it from in the UK, who are, I don't know if they're the main dealer or distributor of these models, and they basically said, this was, I wrote them a letter explaining what I'd done. They then contacted me, and by email I think it was, and said that it's my fault that I've damaged the motor because I've over tightened the grub screws. I won't go into the details, but I wasn't happy about this because I thought that was how the motor was held in. I didn't horse them up with a big socket set or anything like that. We're talking like a 3mm or even a 2mm grub screw. It's finger tight, if that. Anyway, they repaired the motor. They said they would have replaced the motor if they had one, but they seemingly didn't have a spare motor. While this was going on, I even looked on the net to find a replacement that I could go and buy myself. There's none available anywhere, so either they were made specifically for this aeroplane and then they didn't make any more, or something else was afoot. Anyway, I had a very heated phone call with the person at the company, who was adamant that it was all fixed and all repaired, and I had to pay postage to get it back, so they're basically holding me to ransom. It was £3, but out of principle I didn't want to pay it because I didn't think it was anything that I'd done wrong. Got the motor back, installed it back into the model following exactly their instructions, and we had one flight previously a couple of weeks ago, and then yesterday went to fly this aeroplane. Actually no, I lie, we flew them both together. That was fine, they landed. Ewan then went to fly this one. We launched on about half power, and literally he got over the end of the strip. There's a motor with a big bang and a whiz, and the model just fluttered out the sky and hit the ground. So what happened? Well, basically the motor let go from its mount. The grub screws didn't retain it, because I'll probably put some still shots in here to show you. There's on the back what I call like the spigot mount on the motor. There's like a lip which is probably less than 0.5 millimeter, probably 1/4 millimeter lip, and the grub screw is meant to hold behind that. The grub screw isn't meant to grip the spigot, it's meant to just be like a point for the motor to pull against to stop it coming out of the mount in tractor mode. And again, I'll get to that in a minute. So, long story short, the motor came out the front, and I haven't actually done anything to this wiring apart from put it back into the mount. It came out, the motor pulled forwards, and you should be able to see there all the wiring is twisted. So that happened in the air. That is the motor mount which it sits in. You can probably see the one grub screw that side and one grub screw that side that holds it in. You won't see the lip on the motor, it's just too small, but again I'll take a still and put it in. So the motor's pulled through here, twisted up, and of course then the CG's are all wrong, and it basically fell out of the sky. So this video predominantly, it's not a direct complaint to the manufacturer, because I'm not even going to waste my breath speaking to them after my previous dealings with them. This would be more of an advisory, warning if you want to call it that, I don't know, to anybody else that's got one of these. This is not fit for purpose. This, having looked at it from an engineering point of view, this is a pusher configuration mount. There's not enough mechanical support for this motor when it's pulling to stay into this mount. When it's pushing, it's fine. All those grub screws are doing is just holding it in place, and it will sort of self-seat in pusher. In tractor mode, it is just not going to work. What we've got now here is effectively a pile of scrap. Receiver's good. ESC is scrap because that smashed the caps off the end. We've got some spare parts which I can use for my Excalibur. I've got an identical model, so canopy's fine. I think one wing panel might be alright, but I haven't actually taken it apart to see the centre section. So I think it's a 2-part wing from memory, and a tail plane. You might say, well, you could possibly glue it all back together and get it flying again. I might do it at some point. Just now, I'm not going to. I'm so annoyed about it. It is unbelievable. And I'm more annoyed because Ewan spent his hard-earned pocket money on it, and through no fault of his own, he's now lost that. Yes, you might say it's all part of model flying, but if he'd made a mistake and crashed it, it's one of those things. It's something, if you made a stupid mistake while flying, well, yeah, it's one of those things. But for a component to fail that's not fit for purpose, that's not really fair, I don't think. So, as I said, this video's, if you've got one of these aeroplanes, this is the Excalibur 110. There's also the Arctec Diamond 110, or it's exactly the same mold. It's just badge engineering. Check your motor, check your mount. I've put a posting up on one of the Facebook groups here in the UK. I've had, I think, 6 or more people say, yeah, my motor exploded out the front, mine did this, mine did exactly the same. I'm not the only person to experience this. I want to put it out there. If you've got one, check it or keep an eye on it. It could happen as you go to launch it, you're on full power or whatever, and it just explodes and it's close to you. Luckily this happened in the air well away and it came down, nobody was hurt or anything like that, but it has the potential for some damage. So yeah, this is going to be put away into the loft just now until I've thought about it a bit more, and come another rainy day, take it out and give it another look over. The LiPo was fine, that somehow ejected and just fell to the ground, there's no damage to that. Really, in the grand scheme of things, if I wanted to, I probably could glue it back together and fly it again, but as I said, I'm not going to waste my effort just on principle more than anything. I can't be bothered wasting my time on this. Ewan's enjoyed flying it, and I've said he's more than welcome to have my one if he wants, and he can fly it. But yeah, if you've got one of these, please check the front. Please make sure that it's secure. I don't want anybody else getting hurt or losing a model because of this. And if you've got concerns, go to the supplier, whether it be direct from the UK distributor. This, I believe, is made or badged by Hobbico in the States. So I don't know how many in the States have been sold or how popular they are. In the UK, as far as I'm aware, it's just the one UK distributor that sells them. I'm purposely not saying who that is, but if you Google Excalibur 110, you'll probably find out who it is. The person who I had direct phone call dealings with, I believe, is the MD of that company. So maybe he'll see this, maybe he won't, I don't know. But yeah, to say I'm annoyed is the understatement. But I've got to put it out there to you. I like putting my experiences, positive and negative, on here. This is a negative one. If it comes to it, we'll salvage some gear out of it, we'll salvage the servos out of it. Prop, I mean the prop's fine, maybe even the spinner. Canopy, receiver, the receiver's good. That was the one thing I was concerned about, because that was a brand new receiver in there. Obviously before we fly it again, I'll give it a full testing, range checking, etc. But this is one of the new AR620s, ones without the bind plug. It's just got a bind button. They work really well, so that's good, that's a good thing. But anyway, enough of this. I've got better things to do today. If you've got one of these, check it, check the motor, make sure you're safe. If you're watching this video and you haven't already, down here, subscribe, tick the bell, you hear when I put new videos up. All comments below are read and appreciated, and I do my best to reply to them sensibly in a constructive way. Armchair warriors I can't be doing with. You probably won't get a reply if it's that sort of comment. But yeah, until the next time, I'll catch you again soon.